Tune in for Patrick Ching's Painting in Paradise.
Aloha, I'm Patrick Ching, and thank you for joining me on Painting in Paradise. In this episode, we learn about Mānana, the island also known as Rabbit Island.
We'll learn the meaning of its Hawaiian name and how it became known as Rabbit Island. I'll show you how to draw a rabbit and paint the island. We'll revisit a Mark Brown painting class and review a story I wrote as a kid. All this and more on a happy-go-lucky episode of Painting in Paradise! When you visit the east side of Oahu, you'll see a couple of very different looking islands. The smaller Black Island is today known as Kaohikaipu, which translates into the container that gathers. It was probably named that because of the cove on its backside that is visible from Makapu'u. This tiny island is made of lava rock and is noticeably darker than that of the larger island of Mānana. Mānana is known as a tuff cone. Tuff is a light-colored substance created when the lava erupts through water, causing ash that piles up and forms a powdery cement-like material. Other famous tuff cones are at Leahe, also known as Diamond Head, and at Hanauma Bay, or Coco Head. The light appearance of the tuff material gives the island its Hawaiian name Mānana, which means floating or buoyant, and indeed the island does look like it's floating on the sea. Both islands are wildlife sanctuaries, and landing on any part of Mānana is kapu, or off-limits. Many kinds of seabirds inhabit Mānana, including shearwaters, which burrow in the ground and moan like crying babies, and sooty terns, which nest on the ground by the thousands a few months out of each year. Mānana is also a favorite playground of Hawaii's humpback whales. Endangered Hawaiian monk seals now use Mānana as one of their favorite birthing sites. This is a painting I did entitled Mānana Girl. It's of a monk seal pup that was born on Mānana, then came over to rest at Kaupo near Makapu'u. This scene was painted 1 year before it actually happened. Nobody I grew up with knew the Hawaiian name of Mānana.
When I was a kid, I only knew it as Rabbit Island. No one seemed to know why they called it Rabbit Island, so I made up a story about a rabbit that loved the seabirds. In researching the history of the name, I learned that during the sugar plantation era, all of the rabbits in Waimanalo were sent to live on Mānana Island so that they wouldn't get out and eat all the sugar cane. The rabbits thrived on Mānana for about 100 years, and the last ones were seen there in the 1990s. And that's how Mānana got the nickname of Rabbit Island.
Now get your pencil, paper, and whatever you want to draw with, because when we return, I'll show you how to draw Hapa Rabbit. And now I'll show you how to draw Hapa Rabbit. He's the rabbit that loved the birds, from the book The Tale of Rabbit Island. Alright folks, so now I'm going to show you how I go about drawing a rabbit, but not just any rabbit. I'm going to draw Hapa Rabbit, okay? And I think I'll put him like standing there and, you know, holding something like maybe egg or something. Alright, and you know I'm going to start him off just like I start all my drawings. I'm going to be pressing softly. How are we going to press?
Softly.
That's right. And press softly so we don't dig into the paper. And that way you can like adjust lines, or you can ignore lines, or you can erase lines if you have to. Okay, we'll start with his body, and that's going to be, like you heard before, an egg shape. Okay, kind of an oval right there for the body. I'm using a pen so that you can see a little better. You can use a pencil for this. All right, now that I've got the body right there, I'll put the head right around there, and again in the shape of an egg. Yeah. Now his back leg is going to be in oval shape also, okay? Just like that, with a long foot. So lots of ovals so far, yeah? You ready for the ears? Yeah, let's make one ear kind of leaning that way. And one ear I'm going to make like flipped over a little bit, you know, like, so I'm going to bring up his ear like that, and I'm going to have a line that goes in front of another line. That tells the viewer this part is in front of that part, okay? Now for the inner ear parts, we can just put a couple of, you know, lines like that. We still need front paws, and those are also going to be made with ovals, okay? Forearm, and the hand goes around there. Now I'll make the other side forearm also. Okay, and I will make him holding an egg. Okay, so there's his like forearm paws. I'll put a little S shape over there for the back leg. I'll also put another shape of the back leg over there. And now we're just missing one more part. What is it? His cottontail, yeah. And you can make it in the shape of an egg. All right, there we go. So now we've formed up Hapa Rabbit. I think I will put his maka in there so you can see a little better. His maka is his eye. And we'll give him a little smile and a little bump on the nose. And some choop, 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 choop. Whiskers. Okay, now that I got Hapa Rabbit formed up, I'm going to use a bigger pen, and I'm going to outline the things that we already drew, okay? And I will start with the ears here. And this one. Okay, let's pay attention to some of these overlapping lines, yeah? An overlapping line tells the viewer what's in front of what. Okay, so there's a little bit of the inner ear action. And the head, a little bump for the nose, and a big old smile. Right. The maka, I'll make it kind of big. And in the maka, I'll put a little glimmer, like leave one part white, you know? And then you can shade the rest of it so it looks like his eyes kind of like sparkling. Yeah? Little bump for the nose, some whiskers on either side. Now for the back of the head, I'm going to kind of swoop it down to the back of the body, okay? The tail, I'll give him a little bump there. I'll give him a little kind of a fluffy look on the bottom of his tail like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the front legs first, or the top legs. And I'm not going to connect them or close that circle in this part. I'm going to go there to his paw, and oh, he's got some fingers going around that egg. Okay. Under the chin and to the belly area. Now for the back leg, I'll start his back leg like this, and I'm going to make it go underneath that front paw like that. Have a little bit of an S shape right there. And his big old rabbit foot. All right. Okay. Now I'd also like to show people that it has kind of a back leg too. So therefore I'm going to repeat that shape. And that's going to be his back leg. Now I'm going to give him a front leg. But
a lot of it is behind this egg, so there he's holding an egg. Okay, and you can go ahead, since he's kind of a furry rabbit, you can go ahead and put little things of little jaga marks here and there. You know, little furry marks, little lines on his leg. And what you can also do is a little bit of shading might help. And I'm going to put this shading like in these legs that are farther away, yeah? And don't you see how they instantly make those legs look like they're in the back somewhere? Okay, I'm just going to shade those a little bit. That's going to tell the viewer, oh yeah, those are behind, okay? Give them a little more jaga here and there. Maybe a little bit of a cheek, you know? Yeah. And some grass. Put some grass around them. And then don't forget your signature. And there you have it. Hapa Rabbit holding an egg.
When we return, I'll show you how I go about painting the island of Mānana.
Okay, so I'm going to do a little demonstration on painting Mānana Island in oil paints. And actually I've already done some painting on this. In fact, I put the base coats of the ocean and the sky and the shape of the island, and I let it dry good and dry. Now what I'm going to be doing is putting some glaze coats on top of this dry paint. I'm going to get some oil, and in this case it's going to be linseed oil, and I'm going to just gently put it all over the painting, just enough to help the brush glide. Now the first thing I'll do with this is I'll put a little bit of clouds that give the viewer the impression that the clouds are behind the island. The next thing I'm going to do is put a layer of reflections on top of this base coat of the ocean I already did. Now notice that I did the sand color that fades into an aqua green, that fades into a blue, and fades into a purple. The colors move just like the rainbow move, yeah? Yellow, green, blue, purple as the water gets deeper. So I'm going to take a little bit of a sky color, a little bit of like a phthalo blue, white, and magenta. And this is going to go all over the top of the ocean. So the first thing I'm going to do is mix a base color for the light color of Mānana Island and the parts of it that are in shadow. So for the light color, I'm just going to get some white. I'm going to get maybe a little bit of like a Naples yellow or yellow ochre, a little bit of burnt sienna, which is like a rusty color. When I look at Mānana, I also notice it has a touch of a purpley haze, even in its light colors. So I'm going to get a little bit of magenta, and I'm going to add it to that kind of creamy color. And to me, that is the light color of Mānana Island. What I'll do is I'll cover the island with light and dark, and then I'll put the foliage or the greenery on top of it, if it is green, because it's often brown. Okay, so for the dark color, I'll mix like a burnt umber and ultramarine blue together. I'll get some magenta and some white. So what I'm doing is making a kind of a purplish gray color. So I'm going to give it a little skim coat of this light color all over the island. Okay, even the dark parts, yeah, they're going to be this kind of white color of Mānana Island first. Now I'll add my dark color to areas that are in the shadow. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting a base color of greenery on there. And I'm just going to get kind of an olivey green color. Even if it's a little bit on the darker side, that's all right, because I'm going to have a good time lightening it up. So just keep working it back and forth, putting in things that you notice, the light color of the earth, the green color. I'll start to put a little more of the brighter green areas. Okay, a lot of yellow can come into play, even yellow and white for the bright green areas. And now you can put it where you see it. If you're looking at Mānana Island or a photograph of it, you can also put it where it makes the painting look the best. Now Mānana also has a beach that's facing Oahu, and so you can get kind of a little white and Naples yellow color. You need a place for the seals to come out on, yeah? And lastly, you can put a little bit of wave action in there. Now if you want the waves to be in the shadowed areas, you can mix a little white with phthalo blue. But if they're in the areas where it gets hit by the sun, you can use the white a little stronger. And there is a quick little lesson on how you can paint Mānana, also known as Rabbit Island.
This was a quick and simple painting lesson of Mānana. You can use these same steps to paint Mānana in all of its moods. My detailed paintings use the same steps, but just take more time to complete. You can learn to paint with me at patrickching.com. When we return, we'll join an outdoor painting class instructed by Mark Brown. Now let's join Mark Brown and friends in an outdoor painting class in Waimanalo.
I like painting outside because it brings me back to the present moment, and I feel like I become one with nature.
Before I used to just see the water and see the sky, but now I see all the different colors, and I like to try to recreate that on the canvas.
I just love being outdoors in this beautiful environment, and it just makes me feel good and at peace because I have a stressful job, so I just come out and let it go.
The fresh air, the light. When you're finished, you can go for a swim, usually if you're by water.
I wanted to warm up with a quick sketch on my sketchbook, so yeah, I just did one view of Makapu'u here, and this acrylic paints. I just kind of set it up right on the beach and went for it.
It's difficult, but when you come up with a nice painting, it's very rewarding.
Outdoor painting is fun because you get to be outside. Your painting has a better memory for you, or more detailed memory. And so it's nice. You look at it later and you can recreate the feeling of being outside.
Mark is not only is he a good teacher, he's a wonderful person. And that's why so many of us keep painting with him, because he's a good soul. I just love being outdoors, and I love that we go to a different location all the time. I've learned so much about our island, and I've gained a greater appreciation for the landscape and the wildlife and the beaches. It brings you back to life.
Oh, this crew, I learned a lot from them. I've been teaching them over the years. They learned from me. It was one-sided. Now I'm learning from them. So I'm looking over their shoulder and seeing what they're doing, and that way I can incorporate it in my main paintings. And so, yeah.
Thank you for joining me on Painting in Paradise. I hope you enjoyed learning about Mānana Island. I'd love to see what you drew or painted, so why don't you send it to my website at aloha@patrickching.com. Bye-bye.
There's a place that I come from on the east side of paradise, where blue meets blue and the ocean and sky become one, where the mountains and the sea, they call out to me, come on over. And the peaceful sound of the waves come rolling in. Waimanalo, no other place to be. Waimanalo, loved by all who come to see. Kuwahipana, kukula iwi, kuaina aloha. The kupuna and the keiki come and lay a kaiona, and the gentle breezes circle in as Honu swim on by.
Brings you back to life.